to get to broadcast any content today, or if we're just going to have to be eternally cursed by this client crashing and coming back and crashing and coming back.
But yeah, no, the White Lightning played a phenomenal set of games yesterday, so props to them. I'm not going to ever discredit that. They did a very, very good job.
All right, we're back. Third time. Let's go. It's going to be Blackout Gaming versus Blue Milk Tempest. It's Summoner's Rift. It's League of Legends. It's House Party 5v5. It's Minor League Week 5. And hopefully it's going to start for real. Raceland, we have tried 2 times already. This time should be the one. Now let's see what kind of champions these guys draft when they have control of their own clients.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes out here. Hopefully third time's the charm. There's not really much analysis I can give you until I see the picks.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to analyze exactly what a team's picking and what kind of comp they're going for when all you can see is 5 blank portraits waiting to be filled in. Empty Frost is going to pick up the Echo again. That was intended. That was what this team was going for. I fully believe that that was a normal pick where the guys were completely in control of what was happening. Now, over on the side of Blue Milk Tempest, the Tarek and Evelyn, that was a little bit more questionable. That's what I'm expecting to probably be different picks. And it will be different picks. It's going to be Maokai already locked in for Will Win and Dinosaurus grabbing the victor.
That's really interesting. Locking in both of your solo lanes. Like, you know the Echo's coming up. The Echo could be flexed either mid or top lane. And I have seen individuals play Echo against Victor in the mid lane. So this leaves them an opportunity to actually counterpick the top lane or grab some higher priority picks in the bot lane. Maybe looking at the Caitlyn, the Braum, Sivir maybe, something like that. It gives them a lot more breathing room to do their pick order because they know that both the solo lanes are grabbing a jungler right now because all the junglers are up.
All the junglers are open. Looks like they're going to hover Elise for now. Now, there's a jungler I haven't seen in a while. One who's kind of fallen by the wayside in the never-ending reign of Kindred, Graves, and Nidalee for the past couple of months. But they are going to lock her in, and we'll have to see what they're able to do with that early game gank-heavy, invade-heavy, duel. It makes that target that's normally very easy to collapse on and take down much more difficult to collapse on and take down. Or, on a completely different note, you can put all that support onto Will Win's Maokai when he goes into the middle and just make him completely impossible to kill.
The changes have come through, but it looks like they're going to pick up the Lulu Jinx, which will be a bot lane Lulu Jinx.
Lulu's going to be picked up in the support role, like you just commented on. Now, I like Lulu picked with an 80 carry that's immobile like that, like with the Jinx, because you can not only speed her up, you can protect her with the shields, you can give her the wild growth. It makes that target that's normally very easy to collapse on and take down much more difficult to collapse on and take down. Or, on a completely different note, you can put all that support onto Will Win's Maokai when he goes into the middle and just make him completely impossible to kill.
Yeah, I totally agree. The only problem is that the AP ratios for Lulu's ultimate are not nearly as high as when she's in the mid lane, which is where you see the Juggernaut comps come in. It's because she has so much AP and she can give so much health and the speed up and all of that they can actually be almost like a semi-pseudo tank during that period of time. And because it's support Lulu, that's not going to be nearly as effective.
Love You and Lear going to lock in the Sivir and the Zilean, and that is, of course, the Shangdi DMW trademark Zilean mid. The guy has played it more than a couple of times so far in this season's minor league, and he's had more than a couple of successes. He knows his way around the champion, he knows how to play it properly, he knows how to play it successfully, and he knows how to get his team a win off the back of it.
Oh my god, they're doing if they do Jungle Lulu, I will be very, very interested to see how this game goes. I've heard of Jungle Lulu being played here or there, and in competitive even, but I've actually never got to see it played in a game.
There's no way. Is this actually real?
No, I'm being for real 100% might
they're joking
really
with
be
it.
a Jungle
You're
Lulu.
pulling my leg. You're pulling my leg. You're a crazy guy.
No, we'll see. But it's been done in competitive, and that might actually, and I've heard of people talking about it, that might actually be a thing. I don't think it's that great.
Do people
personally.
actually talk about? I feel like nobody talks about jungle. That's one of those hushed whispers kinds of things. You just hear it in the back of your mind when you're not paying attention. Okay, I'm excited. I want to see if this works. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what Dinosaurus is able to do on this incredibly unconventional pick, going up against one of the most conventional junglers in the book.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but that does leave an opportunity that the Karma now is going to be supporting with the Jinx, which I actually think is a better pick than support Lulu. I think support Karma is significantly better than support Lulu. So at least in that aspect, I think it's a little bit better.
Karma and Lulu on the same team means Diamond Dave has got to be feeling pretty comfortable on the Jinx. I mean, you've got two different people who can provide you with escape mechanisms, defense mechanisms, peel mechanisms, and they can just get you in range to do more damage too if they have to. Now, over on the other side of the book, we've been talking about this composition, these weird picks from Blue Milk Tempest. Let's look back at Blackout Gaming's lineup, because these guys are tricky to kill. You've got a Spell Shield in the AD carry, you've got Bard creating journeys and doing those big tempered fates to lock everybody into stasis. You've got Shangdi DMW, who of course gives the second life to whoever he puts his ultimate on. And then Echo. Echo resetting time, going back, repositioning himself, gaining more health. This is a slippery team comp.
The only problem is that it's heavy AP. Like, this is a team comp that is very, very heavy AP, and you have a Maokai in the enemy team, right? So that would be something to point out there is, yeah, Echo tends to do Frost, unless he does some weird Trinity Force build Echo, which I've actually heard about people doing also, kind of like what you see with the Fizz, so it could potentially be something like that. But if he's doing the old standard build, then he's going to be doing a lot of AP damage still. But otherwise,
so
yeah, you're right.
Tell me how you see, and I'm just asking this because apparently you've heard of Jungle Lulu before, which still amazes me more than anything else. How do you see the jungle matchup early on going between Zarkra and Dinosaurus? There's no way Dino's going to be able to match Zarkra's presence, is there?
I don't know. Like, I honestly have never seen a Jungle Lulu. I've heard of people talking about it. Me and Stund have talked about it very briefly about how he's thought about trying it. I'm never sure if he's being serious or like trying to troll me.
Just joking
like,
with you, yeah.
Yeah. So, but maybe this is a real thing. But I've actually never got to see a Jungle Lulu. I don't know how fast her clear speeds are, her gank pressure, any of that. I don't know how she's actually going to be. I don't imagine that she's going to be able to match the Elise. I think that the Elise will be able to go through the jungle with healthier stats and more sustain and get through it faster, but I could be wrong on that. And I think that the Elise is going to be able to offer more pressure early.
I've never wanted to be wrong more than I am right now in not believing in the Jungle Lulu. I want to see a new meta get born right here, right now, in this next match we're about to witness about 10 seconds from now. Stick around, guys. We're going to be live on Summoner's Rift just momentarily for game number 1 of Minor League Action. Week number 5. Stay tuned. It's House Party 5v5. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're here, you're live. It's Summoner's Rift, and it's game number 1 for House Party 5v5's Week 5 of the Minor League. I'm Captain Flowers here on the casting desk, joined by Raceland, and it's Blackout Gaming versus Blue Milk Tempest in game number 1, and Blue Milk Tempest has pulled out the wild card with Jungle Lulu.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what happens once we reconnect back into this game. You called it House Party 5v5, but realistically, it's Pause Party 5v5 because they didn't even get 17 seconds through the game.
Of course, we had the
pause.
client crash 3 or 4 different times before even getting into the lobby successfully. So what does that mean about how many times the game itself is going to crash before we're actually able to see some gameplay?
Yeah, but I'm really excited to see what these two teams do. Mid lane, the Victor can push in the the Zillion pretty hard actually, because Zillion doesn't have the cooldown in order to throw double bombs nor the AP, and actually by throwing bombs onto the minion wave when it hits a tower, he can actually screw up a lot of his last hitting. As far as the top lane, we've seen the Maokai and Echo match happen a lot. I want to see what happens since the nerfs have happened to Echo. I think it's still going to be slightly. I think it's going to go back and forth a lot, but I think that Echo has clear advantages that he can utilize if he can play him correctly. And then I think that this bot lane should favor Jinx, Karma, depending on the way that they play, and if the Bard can actually hit the binds. If the binds can hit, then the Sivir and the Bard can actually do a lot of damage. But the mantra proc from Karma does a significant amount of damage early on.
So we already talked a little bit about the Lulu versus the Elise matchup. We talked a little bit about the lane presence, the lane pressure, the lane control back and forth just now. What do you think is going to be the first major point of contention in this match? Because usually in these games in House Party 5v5, unless we see some kind of a lane swap, a lot of times the games go really slow for a while. There's no big objectives getting taken. Sometimes we go so far as 15, 16 minutes into the game with the turret and dragon count both still sitting at a big fat 0. What do you see the first big objective being contested?
So I think part of this depends on the RNG factor of League of Legends right now. So if that's a really nice dragon, so like let's say that it's an air dragon, right? People probably aren't going to put very much priority on it. It looks like we're going to hop right back in the game here too. One of the things to point out is Blackout actually pinged towards the enemy topside jungle, so maybe they're looking at setting up camp somewhere or just 5-pointing and watching that for invade patterns. But like I was saying, the RNG kind of depends. So if they get a really good dragon, they might actually prioritize it on either side of the team, or just to avoid one of the teams having a dragon. But an air dragon, they might not prioritize, and they might actually put pressure more on the top or bot lane to try to nail down the tower. I imagine that a lot of fighting will happen bot lane, but you could see some back and forth with top lane because of the way that the lane matchup is kind of even, and the junglers need to do something. The big thing is I don't know what this Lulu can do going in there. Yeah, she has the ability to do slow and damage, and the damage is actually not that bad early on, considering just the base damages. But otherwise, I'm worried about this Elise and the 2v2s that happen between like Echo and Elise, and then coming from Victor here, poking out on the empty
single
frost
auto attack lands, going to take off about 30 damage, which will be completely regenerated by the time the minions collide here in the top lane.
Yeah, and when I said poke, I meant like a finger poke. You know?
Just a finger, yeah, a small nudge. It's all about sending the message, not actually about making an impact in the game. Just letting him know you don't come any closer.
Yeah. So, but it looks like the junglers are going to stop bot side, which means you could probably see some 2-2 fighting on the top side.
All right, so Shangdi's going to start off mid lane in style, already strapping a bomb to FYS, but FYS isn't too worried about that one. Biscuit's all over the place in this game. The only champion that we can see having those normal potions instead of the biscuits is going to be Empty Frost on the top side. A nice binding from This Is Lear onto Diamond Dave really early. Of course, at level 1, you can't really collapse and do anything with those.
Yeah, not really. So it'll be the Lulu started the refillable potion, so that's something. So maybe her clears aren't that great. And looking at her taking the buff right now, she's looking like she's struggling a little bit there.
I'm really curious when Jungle Lulu turns on the gank. Is it something you just farm for really heavy and then force objective fights based around her ability to provide that much extra support in large number team fights? Or do you actually go for ganks using the Glitterlands?
Yeah, I don't know, but look at these jungle times right now. Lulu has just finished taking 2 and rotating, whereas Elise is already on her blue buff. So she's going to hit top lane or mid lane significantly faster than that Lulu is.
And that's what we were talking about. That's what we were saying. How is Lulu going to match the pressure, the presence of Zarkra's Elise when he's going to be behind like that the entire time? Unless this magically speeds up. I don't know, maybe Jungle Lulu is one of those things where after the first clear, it gets significantly faster once the jungle item is completed or something along those lines. It's going to have to be, because otherwise Zarkra's just going to take over.
Yeah, and I think that Zarka's going to be able to put a lot of pressure onto the enemy jungler and put a lot of pressure on the lanes, and they should, if they do it correctly, they should be able to snowball.
All right, we've got Elise in the enemy jungle. Zarkra's setting up shop, and it's going to be scary for Dinosaurus to go too close on that one. Will win, looking to make the collapse. Airlock Convergence is going to show up. Zarkra taking a whole brunt of damage at the start. Willwin's going to be Spider Bit. He's got to walk himself away. Shangdi DMW following this one up. He's got both bombs, got the Thunderlords, a little bit more damage. The bomb's going to blow, and he's going to go. First blood for Shangdi DMW. Dinosaurus trying to get himself away, but the Spider's fangs sink deep. 2 go the way of Blackout Gaming as Blue Milk GG finds themselves in their own jungle, dying all over the place. Blue Milk Tempest got to be careful about this early game quickly going the way of Blackout, and that's what we were talking about. The power of the Elise, the control in the jungle, the tempo of the early game.
Yeah, and what they did is they were able to push in the mid lane, so that way Shangdi was actually able to out-rotate FYS and get into that fight, which helped tremendously.
Shangdi got in there, immediately cut off Willwin, and the whole fight was a little bit, it seemed a little bit like guys were jumping the gun at the start, because both top laners, both junglers get close to each other, and we immediately see flashes getting used both ways. And it was just a really haphazard fight, it seemed.
Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth. The incoming damage from Lulu was actually the Glitterlands damage.
Lulu skin.
Yeah, the Glitterlands damage was actually a lot for that second. The problem is that there was no sustained damage to follow up with that. It was like once she shot her Glitterlands, that was it.
And I mean, the Glitterlands had some nice burst to it. There was a good chunk of damage that came through onto Zarkra. But then after that, just like you said, there's no more threat. Lulu can auto-attack, I guess, if she wants to, but not really that intimidating, even with those little Pix bursts helping out with it. And that is going to be over a 1,000 gold lead heading the way of Blackout Gaming. A comfortable lead, but not something to really go crazy on. Not something you can just sit around and be happy with that, extend it into something bigger and bigger. They got to continue to look for these plays, but I'm really happy with seeing Zarkra going for that early aggro against something that's so vulnerable to it.
Yeah, and I think that he's doing the good job. I think he needs to keep putting that pressure on and keep that Lulu behind and keep getting his lanes ahead. Right now you notice a small, well, it's a small CS differential in the bot lane, a little bit in the mid lane, and then top lane is towards the side of Empty Frost. Another thing to point out is Empty Frost actually went back and bought a corrupting potion. A lot of times what you see happen is you see him start with a corrupting potion and then lead into like a dark seal, because it has that scaling effect to it once you get more kills or assists.
That's the
in order
standard
to
these
increase
days, isn't it?
Your AP, yeah.
Corrupting potion into the dark seal on first buy.
Yeah, instead he went Doran's Ring into corrupting potion.
So you're not going to have that multiplicative healing that you would have if you had the Dark Seal plus the Corrupting Potion. Zarkra having to get himself away here in the mid lane as Dinosaurus and FYS now have the ability to put some pain onto Shangdi as well. Shangdi walking himself away without too much hurt, but Zarkra's got to be careful. He wanted to force the issue again. He wanted to flex his muscles in Dinosaurus' territory, but that time Dino and FYS were ready, and they almost took his life for it.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to see a lot of this back and forth because they need to have Zarkra go in and put pressure. Because if they just let him free farm, then there'll come a point where they do have a lot of damage on the side of BMT. The Victor and the Jinx output a lot of damage once they get items. And that'll just help keep them alive with the Karma, because the Mantra Karma Shield is huge. An AoE Karma Shield is a lot of damage to be able to block. And so you have these pseudo tanks coming in on top of the Maokai, which has the Vengeful Maelstrom that's going to help reduce damage also. Even though you don't have a lot of official tanks, you'll have a lot of pseudo tank.
A lot of shielding, a lot of bonus health coming from Wild Growth. And that's one thing that's going to be difficult to deal with, because although Zilean mid provides a lot of utility, so many speed boosts, the res, the power of the AoE stun on the bombs, he doesn't have quite the same damage capability that a lot of other mid laners might have. So if it comes down to him having to be the one who breaks through all those shields and all those buffs, it might be difficult.
Yeah, and even looking at their team, like they have the Echo, they have a Sivir. The Sivir isn't known to be a hyper carry, 80 carry where you're going to see tons and tons of damage coming out. So they're still going a lot more supportive, but then you have the Elise, which outputs a fair amount of burst damage, and the Echo, which has the tanky sustained damage that I'm just going to keep hitting you until you die. So it's going to be interesting because you have a little bit more damage coming out from the side of BMT, but you have the revive and the speed ups coming from the side of Blackout.
And those clutch revives, I think those are going to play a big part in this game, because if FYS uses his entire burst combination to take somebody out of the picture, but they end up only being out of the picture for a couple seconds and then being revived, that's going to be a huge momentum swing for Blackout Gaming. And it's going to completely ruin Blue Milk Tempest's plan because then they've already used all that big Victor burst. Nice binding coming out of this Bard. Again, this is Lear just dialing those in one after the other.
And that's what I said. If they can hit the Bard bindings, then they're going to take a lot of damage, and they're not going to be able to reciprocate any kind of damage because they'll be able to walk away. They'll just throw the boomerang out, they'll throw the stun out, and then they walk away. And there's no sustain coming from the side of BMT.
Still a 2-kill game. Still no objectives being taken or even threatened so far. Still a little over 1,000 gold in the favor of Blackout Gaming. 1v1 between the top laners. Will Win going to take a lot of damage. Zarkra trying to get himself in the mix. They will go deep for Will Win. Can they kill him under the turret? Empty Frost not able to chrono break himself out in time. He sticks around and gets juggled up into the air right as the final turret shot connects. He's CC'd just at the perfect time to prevent him from escaping. He drops, they get the kill into Will Win, but that's not what you want to see as Blackout. You didn't have to get your top laner killed for that one, and it's a tragedy that it happened that way. The Bard binding does not connect for the stun. Karma's going to walk herself away, and Blackout Gaming goes up to a 3-1 lead, although it's a little bit bittersweet.
Yeah, and you have to remember that when you have Chrono Break, if you get CC'd right before you press it, you cannot use Chrono Break. So you need to be ultra careful if you go in and decide to tank towers.
Dinosaurus cutting off Shangdi here in the mid lane. Zarkra's nearby to provide that escape route for her mid laner. FYS taken down to about 150 HP. If Shangdi's able to find the bombs, and he can't quite do it, he would have been able to find that kill, or at least force the wild growth out from Dinosaurus. Shangdi DMW is still looking for the bomb, will not connect it. Has to walk himself away.
Yeah, and look at the farm from the jungler. So Lulu has 34 farm, but she hasn't really done anything for the lanes. She hasn't been able to put pressure, get kills, whereas if you look at Zarkra, he's already 2-0-1 with 41 farm. He's out-farming the Lulu, and he's out-pressuring her.
And he's also got the Stalker's Blade. So that means he's going to be that much more focused on ganking. He's got the extra slow, got that extra bit of extra little bit of upfront burst as compared to the Skirmisher's Saber on Dinosaurus' Lulu, more for dueling, more for making sure that you're able to get that vision down on people, fight in longer extended skirmishes. So expect to see Zarkra continue to have that presence in the lanes. But Flash forced away from This Is Lear, Bard having to back himself up as more presence from Dinosaurus in the bot lane makes sure Blackout Gaming is not going to get too aggressive.
And one of the things I just thought of is there's a huge lack of just hard CC coming in from BMT. They really don't have a way other than the Maokai and the Victor AoE, what's it called? It is called Gravity Field, thank you. Oh, my brain here today. The Gravity Field, there's really no hard CC coming in from the side of BMT. And so to be able to lock someone down for either ganks or when team fights coming on is going to be really, really hard. Whereas you have the AoE stun coming in from Empty Frost, you have a stun coming in from Shangdi, you have the single target stun coming in from Zarkra, you have the Bard Tempered Fate coming in as well as the Cosmic Binding. Like there's a ton of CC on the side of Blackout compared to
a lot of
BMT.
setup potential. A lot of ways to start the fight off. Dinosaurus in the bottom lane once again. He will not give these guys a break. Will Win. Might just get dove onto once more. Parallel convergence not going to connect where they want it. Empty Frost got to be careful this time. He gets himself out the right way. Will Win's going to fall for the third time. 1-3-0. Blackout Gaming is going lumberjacking today, but that's Blue Milk Tempest signed to go for Ocean Drake #1, realizing that the enemy jungler's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, and they should be able to get this Ocean Drake, but they're going to take top lane in response. And I think that that's an alright trade. It's not ideal because you want but your top lane Echo's getting farther ahead, and the teleport is burned from We Win.
So Raceland, give me a rundown real quick. Now obviously Fire Drakes are important in every single game no matter what, so we're going to take those out of this discussion. Who cares about those? The other three, the ones that actually do have varying importance from game to game. Which ones are critical this game? Which ones don't matter?
I don't think that the Air Dragon matters, but I think almost everyone says that. The Earth Dragon's always good for objectives. Like, anytime you want to take objectives, the Earth Dragon is just really good. And I would almost say at times, it's as good as Fire if you're going for an objective game. If you're saying, you know what, we're not going to fight that much, we're gonna siege, take objectives, and not really worry about that, the the Earth Dragon is very, very good at that. You can take very fast Barons, you can take very fast towers. All of this stuff is really good with the Earth Dragon. So I probably put the highest priority on Earth Dragon.
Good Tempered Fate onto FYS. 2 bombs in the same spot means he's going to be stunned up even further after that CC fades away. Shangy DMW going to find kill number 2 as that's a Blackout Gaming 5-1 lead showing up here in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and that's a really nice setup coming in from the Bard. That actually was done in an LCS game in Europe. I think it was last split, where they ran the Zillion and the Bard, and they would do a setup where they would hit a 5, because you can set up a 5-man team like that. If you hit 3 or 4 people with that Tempered Fate, you can throw the double bombs on, they'll all be stunned. And then you just
That is absolutely disgusting because they all take the damage too.
Yep.
Wow,
Yep,
that is a wombo combo. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can set that up on multiple people as this game goes on.
And then you can throw the Echo Parallel Convergence on top of it also, and you can CC them almost permanently. So it's like you're hitting statues.
Oh yeah, by the time all of those would fade away, they're just dead. There's no way you would survive all that.
So I think that's looking really good, and I think that considering they've gotten this early lead, which we were talking about.
4K. 15 minutes into the game, a 4K gold lead for Blackout Gaming.
Yeah, I think that part of the problem here was that Lulu pick. It hasn't really done much, and maybe it's going to output something later on, but their lanes are falling behind quite a bit.
It does seem pretty weak right now. Runic Echoes having been completed, but that's it. Compare that to what's on this Elise. Compare that to Zarkra, who's got the Runic Echoes, plus a Sight Stone, plus now he's working on getting those spooky ghosts up and ready to chase people down. He's way further ahead.
Yeah. He's just going to be able to do, I think, a lot more than is expected. Also, is that going to be that might be the blue item, not Spooky Ghost. The blue warding item.
Oh, you think he'll evolve that into that instead of the ghost item itself?
That's what junglers have been doing for Elise.
Okay, I haven't actually seen Elise played in so long. I wasn't exactly sure on how Elise is played by the top Elise players these days. So if that's the pick, then that's the pick. Either way, it's still almost another item completed past what's sitting on Dinosaurus as Empty Frost tries to go deep, forcing the fight onto Will Win once more. Zarkra making the rotation, got the stun. Can he go forward? Repel up and over into the blue smite, into the kill. Zarkra's found himself one, but now he's got to find his way out. Sidesteps the gravity field, but can he keep himself alive? Shangy DMW says he doesn't even have to worry about it. Brings him back to life with Chrono Shift as Diamond Dave eats a whole lot of damage from those skill shots here in the bottom lane. Disconnect from Dinosaurus, reconnected immediately, but the pause comes out all the same.
Yeah, and it looks like we had another disconnect that happened during this game. So I guess we're gonna wait and see what happens with the teams to see what happens.
All right, so we've got this one paused. Apparently, everybody's trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. FYS going to unpause this one right now, and we are back in the fight. I Still Love You, and this is Lear still trying to chase these guys down. Diamond Dave down to about 40% of his health, but Dinosaurus is here. They might be able to turn this one around. Glitterland's going to come through. I Still Love You walking himself away. Blows both summoner spells to do it, as Dinosaurus keeps his bottom lane in good enough shape to continue pushing what they're doing down here. Got to keep going. Got to find something. Got to find some kind of momentum to keep themselves ticking. It's Super Mega Death Rocket coming up with nothing, just threading in between both enemy champions, as Love You and Lear keep themselves in good enough shape, but sadly weren't able to actually take their opponents down. Dino's once again showing up in bottom lane, though. So much effort being put down here to still have no kills or assists under his belt.
Yeah, and this game is just slowly falling more and more behind, and assuming that they don't bring us out to a 72-minute game, I think that it should be in the favor right now of Blackout, and this is their game to lose right now. They have the advantage, they can keep pushing the advantage, and they have such leads everywhere else on the map that I think that it should be their game.
The thing about House Party 5v5 matches, though, so many times we see games where we say, oh, it's X team's game to lose. Y has to just let the ball sit in their court and hope they mess it up. And they do mess it up. So many teams have been ahead, and we see them just not be able to continue that lead and translate it into a win. So that's what I'm really concerned about for Blackout Gaming right now, is we're still only 17 minutes into the game. The night is young, Raceland. Can these guys translate it into a win all the way to that Nexus exploding?
That is very true. We could have another spooky midnight event where they stand in a bush when the enemy team has three lovely Farsight totems and not check that one bush.
Still remembering that one. One of those things that you just don't easily wash away from your memory.
It haunts me in my dreams, Flowers. That's what it does. So I think looking at this game, though, I think that you're right. It isn't over until it's over. But I think to some degree we need to assume that they're going to play it correctly. Otherwise, we just cry. So I want to see what BMT can do to try to pick up lanes. Because they need to try to get catches. The problem is they don't have any hard CC.
Yeah, you got the Maokai. That's it.
Yeah.
And honestly, Twisted Advance does not have a super crazy cast range. You got to get pretty close just to use it. And I guess he can be sped up. Dinosaurus and She can both... Shy... I don't know how I'm going to pronounce that one. We'll have to just improvise. Dinosaurus and the Karma can both keep this guy nice and fast, but he still doesn't have the way to actually blink and close that distance to get in range for Twisted Advance, for that initiation. And even if he does, the person he advances onto can flash back into their own lines and make it so he's overextended.
Yeah, and it looks like this Infernal Drink is coming up. I think there's going to be a huge fight coming in here.
They're going to fight for this. Everybody wants to fight for this big fire dragon. Zarkra's going to be caught by the power of the Chompers. Fight's looking to break out. Temper Fate connects only onto Diamond Dave. Dinosaurus in the middle, killed immediately. Zarkra on a rampage. FYS has to get himself away now. The bombs continue to come through. This is Lear looking for a big binding. Shangdi DMW on a killing spree. He's going to use the ultimate on Lear, but it's not even required. Blackout Gaming walks away with a dragon and 2 kills, and they're looking for even more. She has to be careful under the turret. They're looking to make the dive. They don't have the Zillion ultimate available, but who needs it? Chrono Break comes through. 9-1 game, Blackout Gaming.
Yeah, and they took so much damage from that dragon. BMT was like almost lost a quarter of their health trying to start that dragon because they didn't have the tankiness to tank it. The Lulu wasn't tanky, and the Maokai wasn't able to get in there and tank it, so they were just so low, and then it gave an opportunity for Blackout just to come in and take everything and kill them, and now they're going to get towers off of this, and they should be able to reset and then start to do wave control, and then start taking more towers and objectives.
Now, Raceland, I got to ask your opinion on something, because what you're seeing right now in the UI is that Echo has completed his first item, and he is going for Battle Echo.
I did call the Trinity.
How do you feel about Battle Echo compared to AP Echo or Full Tank Echo?
Oh, I don't think it's going to be Battle Echo. I think it's going to be Trinity in place of Frozen Fist, and then he's going to go tank.
Okay, so it's just Trinity with Full Tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Same.
Because I've seen some weird Battle Echo builds with, like, Wit's End and Trinity Force and all this weird stuff on them, and I was just curious if that was going to be the road we go down this game.
I don't think so. I think the more optimal build is just to replace Trinity Force for Frozen Fist because of the stats it gives you. That's what you see done on Fizz a lot now, is that he'll go Trinity Force or he'll go a win-win getting attacked by Zarkra.
Will win, having to walk himself away. And for the tankiest member, for a guy who's itemized nothing but magic resist, Zarkra still hurt him pretty well.
Yeah, he does have the hunting guys coming in for the extra magic pen, and he has a fair amount of AP, and he did get the Eye of the Watcher too. So.
All right, so he's got that extra warding capability. He's got extra magic penetration, plenty of AP, plenty of health. He's sitting in a really pretty spot right now. 8,000 gold for Blackout Gaming over their opponents right now. One bomb comes down, doesn't really connect. FYS, having to be careful about that one. Both bombs going to blow up, and Shangdi DMW is on a rampage. Empty Frost going to get 1v3'd here in the top half of the map. I don't know if he's going to survive this one. Chrono Break's already been used. He tries to take down She at the same time. Can't successfully do it. I still love you. This is Lear Zarkra. Everybody setting up shop. Can they find the CC properly? They will not find the cocoon, but the binding is there. Diamond Dave's in the dirt, and now they found the tier 2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they're just slowly starting to steamroll now that they've got their lead. They have a 10k gold lead, or pretty close to a 10k. It's 9.7, but we're gonna round. And they're going to be able to take more objectives, and they'll be able to pressure this Baron now once they take more of these tier 2s. And with the Echo teleport actually almost being up, they can actually just pressure bot lane with Echo and roam either mid or top or Baron.
I still love you, and Zarkra putting plenty of damage down onto this tier 2 turret in the top side. FYS going to take some serious hurting, but so does Shangdi. He's got to walk himself away. Flash going to be forced out. Chrono Shift still available. Everything is available except for the Chrono Break on Empty Frost. These guys can still fight if they have to, but they'd rather back themselves away. Look at the amount of vision being placed by Blackout Gaming in Blue Milk territory.
Yep. That's because they have the tier 2 towers down now. They can put lots of vision in there. They can send Echo bot lane. They know that if the team goes bot lane, they get a free Baron, and from that free Baron, they'll just be able to take other objectives. And I don't think right now anyone can 1v1 the Echo.
I don't think anybody can even come close. With that Trinity Force completed, because that item gives you extra AD-based fighting capability, Spirit Visage is less effective than Willwin would like it to be in that 1v1.
Yeah, totally. And then also, a lot of Echoes have been running Split Pen on Echo as well as Fizz for their runes. So they'll run some Split Pen as well as attack speed, so it should do a fair about a bit of actually AD and AP damage because all of his spells are AP still.
We're now looking at a 5-digit gold lead, 23 minutes into the game for Blackout Gaming. This is almost insurmountable for Blue Milk. Saying this is Blackout's game to lose is an understatement. They have been in control from that first fight that happened near top lane jungle, and they have never let it go.
Yeah, and really they can just have the Echo sit bot, take towers, dance around the Baron. They don't even have to start Baron. They can even engage fights, because I think right now if they were to get a nice Tempered Fate with the Zillion Bombs on top of it, they can actually win a 4v5. If that Tempered Fate hits.
If the Tempered Fate into the Zillion Wombo combo connects, I don't doubt that they would be able to win a 4v5. Those 2 bombs alone would probably take Diamond Dave down to about a quarter of his health. Empty Frost, not even remotely concerned about the damage heading his way from that turret. Willwin trying to rotate himself over. He'll be the first man at the site of the battle that is going to be this tier 2. Damage coming through from the rockets for Diamond Dave. Empty Frost has parallel convergence down. He's going to be gunned down. Can he get himself back up and into the fight properly? Answer's going to be yes. I still love you. Finds the kill and a will win. The bombs are off. They're strapped to the FYS. Shangdi DMW unstoppable as she falls for the second time this game. Empty Frost over the wall looking for even more. This time on the FYS. The bombs are down. The spider is out. And the pain is raining down like water. Dinosaur is going to be taken out. And that is an ace for 1 going the way of Blackout Gaming.
Yeah, and they are just so far ahead now, they should be able to take these objectives, and I really don't foresee any way for BNT to come back in this game. They have to pull out some crazy stuff, like sitting in a bush, catch everyone on guard, and then just kill them over and over again, and that might be the only way.
Bottom lane inhibitor, the most important inhibitor on the map, reduced to rubble 25 minutes into the game. Mid lane inhibitor turret, the only thing stopping them from snowballing this into a greater objective advantage as soon as they go shop. It's dead now too. This is completely Blackout Gaming's match. They have so many options with what they can do right now. You can go set up around Baron. You can just force the fight in open ground on the exposed inhibitor. You can do whatever you like. The game is yours at this point, and Blue Milk Tempest has to realize that.
They can't stall out. They should not stall out. That would be a bad
idea. You can't stall out. That's the one choice that leads to bad things happening.
Oh. They still have the teleport coming up on Echo. I don't know why they don't just... They should just send Echo bot, push that in, and then push top lane now. Or get Baron for free.
Ocean Drake is the target for Blue Milk Tempest. Gonna look to steal this one away. Here comes Tempered Fate. Making it so they can't do so immediately. Will Win actually takes the dragon out. As we see Empty Frost's Echo in the top lane, so he can't get himself into the fight immediately. Teleport will be available to make the flank if that's the call they want to go for, but for now they're happy with the 4-1 split push.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to press this mid into him. They should be able to take that fairly easy. And then with Empty Frost taking top lane, they should be able to rotate top, depending on what fights happen.
This inhibitor is so easy for these guys to take. There's no way their opponents can fight them without a turret nearby.
Yeah, and you just have so much zoning pressure coming in from Shangdi, as you see him place the bombs, and then
5-0 and 7 on the Zillion, with Roa, Morello, Namicon, and Rabadon's Death Cap.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage.
Every bomb is doing 750 damage pre-mitigation. Double bomb combo, 1,500.
Double bomb combo auto attack for Thunderlords. That's what you'll probably see happen.
Double bomb combo auto attack Thunderlords. That's got to hit for close to 2k before mitigation. Considering Diamond Dave has 1.4k total health, And 40 MR, Will wins in some trouble. Parallel Convergence comes down. Nothing's going to save him, or is it? The Wild Growth is there, but it will not succeed in doing its job. Tempered Fate onto the turret. Doesn't really matter. Can't go any deeper for now. Shangdi just chucking those bombs in one after another with the main tank line down on Blue Milk Tempest. This is the sign for Blackout Gaming to break the last inhibitor turret and head for the last inhibitor itself. Turret melts in a matter of seconds, not even a full second, and now the inhibitor is going to go. 28 minutes into this game, and Blackout Gaming has found total control over Blue Milk Tempest base. FYS with the bomb on his head, he's going to be blown away by the power of the Thunderlords. And now they have to walk themselves away. Now they're going to regroup and gear up for that final push.
Yeah, and I think that they could just final push and try to end the game, or I guess if they really want, they could take Baron for good measure and then final push and end the game. But I'm pretty sure the end's going to be coming here soon. Within the next 5 minutes, I would say they can close out this game.
Should be the next 5 minutes or so. Shouldn't take any longer than that. 28 minutes in with, what is that, 16,500 gold? I'd say that's a pretty impressive lead.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, maybe they're going to look for this Baron. I'm wondering if BMT is going to try a Desperation steal, because I think they have to. I don't think there's any other option. But I don't think even if they steal it, they come out of this... They'd have to steal it without dying, and then maybe they could stall out the game.
I don't even think stealing it without dying and trying to stall will work. 16,000 gold at 29 minutes is way too big of a lead. They actually would have to kill all 5 members of Blackout Gaming in the Baron pit and take the Baron. I don't see them coming back any other way. And they're not even nearby. FYS has gone into the bottom lane to stop the double super minion waves from pouring in. Shangdi DMW is just keeping everybody away. Tempered Fate over the wall. Teleport looking to come in. Will Win's going to DP about 3 feet. Don't know exactly what he's doing there. Shangdi DMW going to be CC'd. Diamond Dave having to run himself away. Zarkra is the first to fall, but Diamond Dave and Will Win go immediately after. This is Lear almost able to find the kill into Dinosaurus. FYS going to be CC'd and chased down. Shangdi DMW looking for the kill onto whoever he can find it on. Bombs onto himself, just dragging those in range of FYS. The Thunderlords plus the bomb is enough to buy Empty Frost and 6 super minions the time to beat down the Nexus just a little bit over 30 minutes and give Blackout Gaming a dominating victory over Blue Milk.
Yeah, and this was a game where we saw the cool Lulu come out, but it didn't really do anything.
I guess that's why unorthodox picks are unorthodox, because if they worked all the time and they worked fantastically, they would be the meta. Zarkra, Shangdi, Love You, Lear, and Frost gotta be happy about the way that one turned out. Even though they came into this game, they were the 6-2 team versus the 7-.